Hey guys, Metal Driver here, bringing you another AEW Unrivaled review. Today I'll be looking at the exclusive Ringside Collectibles Authentic Scale Ring Kenny Omega figure. So as I said, this comes with the Authentic Scale Ring, so he is placed in this packaging. So let's go ahead and take him out. Alright, and here is Kenny Omega out of the packaging, and he doesn't come with any accessories, so we're gonna just zoom in and take a closer look at the head sculpt. Alright, and look at the head sculpt. The first thing that I'm noticing is that, the paint apps. The paint apps on mine turn out very poorly. Now, I've seen images online of this figure with the original release Kenny Omega, side by side, and this version was supposed to have better paint apps, and it looks like that should have been the case. However, the paint on my figure is misaligned. So I don't know if you can tell, but here, the eyes on both sides are not painted on properly. So if you take a closer look, the sculpting on the eyes is lower than the actual paint. So the paint should be lower and aligned better. Same thing with the lips. So you can kind of see it a little better with the lips, that the paint goes above the upper lip. So that just makes the head sculpt look really bad. And here I have the standard release Kenny Omega right behind him. So if you look at the focus on the exclusive Kenny Omega, just take a close look at the lips and the eyes. And if you take a look at the standard release, his paint is aligned properly. So when you look at both figures side by side, you can really tell the difference. And you can really notice the bad paint apps on this one. So that's really unfortunate. Now with my standard release here, that one I bought in stores, so I was able to find and pick out the one that had the best paint apps. With this Kenny figure, this is a Ringside exclusive, or at least it's an exclusive with the Authentic Scale Ring, which isn't sold in stores. So the only way you can get this is by buying it online, and when you buy something online, you can't choose the one that has the best paint apps. So basically you're stuck with whatever they send you, and unfortunately I got a really bad one. It seems like that's kind of my luck. I always get bad paint apps when I pre-order stuff. Now, face aside, the beard looks decent. You can see some misaligning here. Also, he's missing some paint underneath on the chin. So, this is really unfortunate. It's a real bummer because I was looking forward to this Kenny, basically because he's got the blonde streaks in his hair, like how he's supposed to, whereas the standard release only has dark hair. So the blonde highlights are painted well, so that looks good. It's got a little bit of black right on top, and then closer to the front we've got the blonde hair. There's also some added red paint there, so hopefully that can come off just by scratching it. But yeah, the paint on the face looks really bad on mine, and this is really unfortunate, so that sucks. Alright, then looking at the rest of the body. So he's got the same body as the standard release. The muscles look pretty good. The arms aren't too beefy. And like with the other Unrivaled figures, the skin tone does not match with the upper body and the lower half of the torso. However, it doesn't seem as noticeable as with the standard release. So there is a difference in skin tone on this one as well, but it seems a little more subtle than it is with the original one. Then his wrist tapes are painted on both wrists in white. He's got the standard gripping hands. Then I did want to note that even though this figure doesn't come with any accessories or interchangeable hands, you can pop the hand off, like that. And you can't pop one of the extra hands from the original release, Kenny Omega. And it fits perfectly. Then looking at the lower body. So you've got the belt buckle's painted pretty well. It's just solid plastic on the belt, no added paint. And on the back of his butt, he's got K Omega. Paint came out really well on the lettering. Lettering looks really good, nice crisp line work. Now looking at the legs of the tights, it's got some neat designs here. Looks like they're serpents. So line work is really good. I like how the green has this glow here. Same thing with the lettering on the back. And looking at the other leg, some more serpent-like designs. At least I think they're serpents. That's what it looks like to me. Again, line work is really good. It's got some nice glowing effects. So that's really cool. I do like this color scheme, the green and the black. I'm a big fan of that. And then the knee pads have this nice line work, lime neon green. So that looks really cool. Then you've got half an Omega symbol here, the other half here. Then looking at the boots, we get the same designs from the knee pads. This neon green. They've got greens over here, around the shins, the kick pads. Design goes onto the foot, same thing on the other. Then there's just some slight mispaint here Other than that, the rest of the paintwork is really good. Alright, and going over the articulation, so the head is on a hinge and a ball joint, so it doesn't go very high up due to the hair, but it can look down pretty well. Head can turn side to side, and it can slightly tilt. Shoulder has a hinge, which allows it to go very far up. Can rotate all the way around. There's a bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows. There's a swivel and a hinge at the wrist. There's a ball joint at the diaphragm, which allows him to rotate and twist. He can also crunch that far forward and crunch that far back. And then there's another ball joint at the waist, which allows him to twist side to side, and it can also allow him to further crunch forward and go further back, and that's really good range of motion. The hips have a ball joint which allow the legs to go really far out. They can go that high up. There is a thigh cut. He has double jointed knees. There is a cut at the top of the boot. The ankle has a hinge which allows it to go that high up, that far down, and there is some good ankle pivot. Alright, and here is a front side-by-side comparison with the exclusive Kenny Omega figure and the original release Kenny Omega figure. Then here's a comparison from the right side, here's a comparison with the left side, and here's a comparison from the back side. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on the exclusive Kenny Omega figure? Well, I feel really disappointed with the one that I have. In looking at comparison shots online, I saw a lot of people receive figures that had really good paint, and the head sculpt on this one actually looked better than the original release. However, the one that I received has really bad paint. The eyes and the lips are misaligned, that it really hurts the look of the figure for me. To me, this head sculpt looks terrible, at least the one that I have. Now, I like that he has blonde hair. I wish the original release had that, but it's really disappointing. Again, when pre-ordering figures, that's the risk you run. You don't get to pick out the one with the best paint apps, you get whatever they send you. And unfortunately for this figure, it wasn't cheap. It wasn't 20 or 30 bucks. I had to spend over $100 plus shipping in order to get this because he came with an authentic scale ring. So, would I recommend this? Well, if you get a good one with good paint apps, then yes. Because this figure would look amazing with good paint apps. Plus, the authentic scale ring is a really good ring. It's nice and large, so that ring is worth owning alone. So really, it's up to you. Is it worth spending $100 on getting a ring and a figure? I think so long as the paint apps look good. Now, thankfully, the paint apps on the tights on mine look really good. Again, it's just the head sculpt. So, I'm disappointed with mine. Hopefully if you order one, yours doesn't look this bad. So let me know in the comments section below. Have you ever received a figure with such bad paint apps that you just couldn't bring yourself to liking the figure? Have you ever pre-ordered a figure that had some bad QC issues? And after you leave a comment, be sure to like this video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you can see more AEW Unrivaled reviews. As always, stay tuned till the end to see pictures of this figure in action, and I'll see you next time.